Inspiration. We all want it, and we all struggle when it disappears. Welcome back. I'm Gila Ross, host of the Power Up podcast, where we share short, relatable ideas that impact and upgrade our everyday lives. And in this episode, I am so honored to speak with the face behind, the man behind Stories to Inspire. And we hear a little bit about how he got started on his powerhouse of account where he shares so much inspiration. And we talk about inspiration, how to find it, how to power through it, and what to do with it.
Thank you for having me.
I feel very honored that you said that you don't really you don't often go live, but you were willing to do it for us. So thank you for joining us. So thank you to everyone who's joining us. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, so my name is Daniel Agalar. I live in Los Angeles, California. I am married with kids, Baruch Hashem. I grew up here, and I spent a few years in Eretz Yisrael. I went to yeshiva for 2 years in Beit Shemesh, yeshiva at Reshit Yerushalayim, and then I was in New York. I went to Yeshiva University.
Right.
And I was there for 3 years. Got I was in the yeshiva program. Got my degree in business. I actually got married in New York and moved back to LA. And now I'm living in LA, working, part-time, and Stories to Inspire is the other part of my life.
So tell us a little bit about Stories to Inspire, how it came to be.
Sure. So basically, I've always been, interested in spreading inspiration and helping other people become closer to Hashem. And this goes back to maybe about 2008. Around 2008, I decided to create a website, which was called puretorah.com. It's still in existence. And that was basically to share Torah, any interesting Torah shiurim I would find, I would put on, and all different types of things I would put on to try to, spread inspiration. And around 10 years later, in 2018, I came up with the idea of Stories to Inspire. It first started with my own family. I love saying stories. I'm sure a lot of people enjoy stories, and especially my children. I would tell them over stories, at night when I would put them to bed. I was always telling them stories, and every day I had to come up with different stories because they would remember if I said a story in the past, and so they kind of kept me on my toes. And I decided, what's the point of telling over a story and then kind of forgetting about it and just letting it go? Why don't I share this with the group of my friends and family? So I decided to open up a WhatsApp group where I would send out these stories. Originally, I was recording the stories, and I would send them out. And I made a website where I was posting the stories by category, which is there right now. And after that, things started to grow. Baruch Hashem started to grow, and I basically took the step from there I opened it up to the world, and it became a broadcast, and now Baruch Hashem, thousands of people are on the WhatsApp list. But from there, it became a podcast. It became on the website, and Baruch Hashem, we created a phone hotline for people that don't have internet, and that's Baruch Hashem very, very successful, getting about 400 calls a day.
That's amazing.
Yeah, Baruch Hashem. And from there, I decided to go on to Instagram, and that's really where the quotes and all those flashes of inspiration, all these things started. Was when I got onto Instagram. I decided, there's a way to inspire people with stories, but not everybody has the time to listen to a story. Not everybody's maybe into stories. So everybody has time, everybody has a few seconds to read, a quote,
Right.
to look at a quote and become inspired from a quote. And hopefully that will bring them over to more. Maybe they'll want to explore more and take it further from there. And Baruch Hashem we came out with a book about 2 years ago now, and that Baruch Hashem is selling very well. And recently it got into the UK. We had reprinted it, and yeah, Baruch Hashem, it's something.
That's amazing. I didn't.
Getting a lot of good feedback.
Yeah, obviously I knew about your Instagram, and I've listened to your podcast many times, of the Stories to Inspire podcast. I didn't know about. I think I knew about the hotline, but I didn't even know you had a book. So that's amazing. I mean, that's a lot. Is there any like one particular? I'm sure you have more than one, but like one really like story that kind of sticks out in your mind of
Yeah.
you want to share with us?
So, actually people contact me all the time. They say, I'm speaking here, I'm speaking there, I need a story about this, I need a story about that. And I try to help as much as I could. It's kind of hard for me to come up with my best story, my favorite story, but right now there's almost 3,000 stories. But I think we just passed 2,600 stories. So, but
Unreal.
my favorite stories always have to do with Hashgacha, seeing divine providence, seeing Hashem's hand in our life. And there's a story I heard a little while back from Rabbi David Asher, who's obviously from Living Emunah book series. And he says a story that I think really encompasses Hashgacha Pratis, like, it's the craziest Hashgacha Pratis story. He says a story about, there's an organization called Elef Lamagen. They basically send people all from Eretz Israel all over the world to try to revitalize different communities. And they sent a rabbi to New York, to the Bronx, and there was a dying synagogue over there, of elderly people that needed some, revitalizing. And so he goes in there. He sees the first thing is the shul is in disrepair, and the first thing he wanted to do was repair the shul, get it in good working order. So he decided, let me get people to paint the shul, let me get some remodeling done. And what ends up happening is he sets a date for the reopening. By Purim, we're going to have this shul back in running again. And happens to be right before Purim, about a week before Purim, there was a big snowstorm, and there was the place was in disrepair. There was damage on the walls from the water, from the snow, and he didn't have enough time to go and find the person to paint over that, because nobody wanted to. They said, look, it's the winter season, it's just going to get worse, we're not going to paint over something like that. And so he ends up going to a thrift store to purchase something that he can cover up, the damage on the wall. And in the thrift store, he finds a kind of a tapestry that somebody had embroidered with a Magen David on it, and had some few initials on the bottom. Somebody had embroidered it, and so he purchases it and goes. And as he's going back to the synagogue, he sees a woman waiting by the bus stop, an old elderly lady, and he decides to pick her up and to try to give her a ride back home. And he said, look, she said, I live in New Jersey, quite a far way from this Bronx in the New York. So he said, look, I'm willing to drive you there. I don't want you to wait outside in the cold for the bus. So he says, I have to go to the synagogue. I have to put this back, I have to hang this thing on the wall. I have to kind of tidy up some things. And he goes to the shul, he puts, this tapestry on the wall, and she's watching, and she starts to cry, and she starts to say, where did you get this from? This is mine. Like I actually was the one that embroidered it. I was the one that actually made it, and I made it for my husband. and I haven't seen my husband in 35 years since the Holocaust, and we've been separated. And yeah, this was something that I made. And he said, look, you could take it back. It's, you know, if it's yours, please take it. And basically, she says, no, it's, what am I going to do with it now? I'm going to let it, you know, let the shul have it. That's the best thing, you know, for it right now. And what happened was that he ends up taking her back home. And came time for Purim, you know, the shul was becoming packed. And people were waiting for, you know, to read the Megillah and all that. And there was an elderly gentleman sitting in the front, and he sees this tapestry on the wall, and he starts to cry. And he says, where did you get this from? This was from my wife, who had given to me from the war, and it was, you know, 35 years ago. I haven't seen her. And, you know, long story short, he ends up taking him
Wow.
and driving him to his wife's home in New Jersey. And as you can imagine, after 35 years, husband and wife being separated, you know, it was just, you know, so much emotion. And it was like, but to, you know, to see along the way, the steps that Hashem made to, you know, I don't know why they were supposed to be you know, separate from each other for 35 years, but, you know, Hashem made it that they should come back, you know, together again. He made a storm. He made the rabbi go to the, you know, the thrift shop and to purchase this and to pick her up from the bus stop and this and to have her look at it. If you look at all the little details of just the story, you see how Hashem is just in charge of every little thing, every little thing. And yeah, that's one of my favorites. But I love stories. You know, like
that is, I mean, that is a incredible, wow, story.
And this is actually, I see in the comments, Story Anytime, this was a daily dose, number 45, A Bronx Tale. And yes, that is that is true. That is it's also
well
in the
remembered.
Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned that you have like what 2,600 stories. Like, where do you find, or where do you get all your stories and all your I mean, you're posting on Instagram what, multiple times a day? Like, where do you get all this inspiration, all these stories to keep on inspiring everyone else?
So the stories are coming from Torah Anytime and, you know, all these Torah websites that we have, you know, Baruch Hashem, nowadays. And I, you know, wherever I could find a story, I look for it. The quotes are coming from all, you know, Nefesh HaChaim or, you know, Derech Hashem, Mesil Sisharm, all these different svarim. Lately, I've been going through the Beis Halevi on Bitachon, and that's a great source. I also see, you know, secular sources that you know, if it goes with the Torah Hashkafa, you know, I build on it. Some of these quotes I just make up on my own, or I tinker with them to try to make it sound better. You know, so in short, I get them from everywhere. I mean, it's I could walk down the street if I see you know, some sign or whatever it is with some inspirational words. I'll kind of try to make something from that. You know, so it's definitely something that, you know, I work on daily, and, you know, Baruch Hashem, it's a lot of it is from Hashem. It's just he's in a way he's just sending it to me. I'm the middleman.
It also sounds like you've almost like trained yourself to find them everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Can I ask you something a little bit personal? Have you ever struggled to find inspiration?
Well, yeah. I mean, like everyone, you know, I there are days where it's hard to find inspiration. So the way I deal with that is that the days where I'm feeling good, that I'm very inspired, I actually, you know, try to come out with, you know, maybe 4, 5, 6 different quotes or 5, 6 different stories, and I have them, I save them for a day that, you know, that I don't feel as inspired. So I kind of have like a database, just in case I hit one of those days. I do have, things to. I always have material. I think that's a very good way to go about things, is to have something in backup, just in case you don't have for that day. But I try at my best to come up with new things on a daily basis.
Wow.
If I could.
I like what you said about like everyone, because it's very easy, I think, when you're receiving the content, right, and you see like this amazing account with all this thing, to think that like, wow, this person or whoever it is, if it's a team or it's the person, is always inspired. But as you said, I think it's normal, we have times when we're more inspired and less inspired. So what advice would you give for people if they are going through a phase where they're, whether it's a day, whether it's longer, whether they're really struggling to find that inspiration?
So I heard something from Charlie Harari. Mr. Charlie Harari said something beautiful when it comes to inspiration. He said that, he said in the way of a story, he said that he was once going to his friend's house in New Jersey, and as he was going, there was this terrible thunderstorm, and all the lights went out, and everything became dark, and it was a big thunderstorm, and he was close to his friend's home, but he didn't know exactly where to go because there were no streetlights. But he realized that every few minutes there was a flash of lightning, and at that moment of the lightning, everything, it lit up. It lit up the whole, everything, that he could see everything for a few seconds, and then it was all complete darkness again. But he realized that in those moments of light that are coming from that lightning, right, I can take a few steps forward. I can figure out, okay, I have to turn over here, I have to turn over there. So that when it becomes dark, I know where to go, I know what to do. And he says that basically, that when it comes to inspiration, that flash of light, there's always a flash of light. Actually, the Ramchal talks about this, Vilna Gaon talks about this. He says that there's always, the inspiration is a gift from Hashem. It's basically like a flash that shows us where we could be, shows us, what we can achieve. And then all of a sudden,
who we can become, right?
And who we can become. And all of a sudden, it's poof, it's all gone, and we were left in the darkness. And that's like the fall. That's basically, you went up, but you fell down again. But the key is to try to build back up, to reach that point and earn it on your own. And
I think, sometimes the challenge is that when we hit that point of like the down, we think like, oh my goodness, what's going wrong? Like, what have I done wrong? Whereas that the sources are all teaching us is that no, that's not, that you haven't done anything wrong. It's very normal, right? When you expect the inspiration to go, and you realize that, okay, that inspiration, it's gonna go, and now I've got to just sort of push through it, and like the analogy you shared from Charlie about the flash of lightning, right? Is that it's our job to kind of remember the picture and to push through it. I think something like that is very helpful, to know that we're not doing anything wrong, and it doesn't mean that we're bad, or we're wrong, or we're not good enough, or whatever else, but this is normal, and now we have to push through it, right? So
yeah, it's definitely normal. Definitely normal.
Yeah. Was that part of the inspiration? Because you part of your name is flashes of inspiration as well.
Yeah. So that kind of comes from that. The lightning, the light from the lightning is the flashes of inspiration. That hopefully these quotes will give you that flash, and it's up to you to take it from here and see what you're gonna do. And what I wanted to say is that we have to take action. It's not enough to just be inspired, but take even the smallest action, take the smallest step, and I think that's going to help you grow. And also for me, it helps to know that so many people are looking at these quotes and listening to these stories. That gives me motivation to try to come out with more, even on days that I'm not really feeling it. So you don't have to be on that level. You can be on even on a smaller level. You can have a person who has a chavrusa with somebody else. somebody's depending on me. I'm here, or chesed, I go visit somebody in the old age home or whatever it is. When you know that other people are depending on you, and then that gives you more motivation to keep going. I mean, if I can give you one more analogy, is that as children, when you want to teach children to walk, right? The parent holds the child starts to walk, and then all of a sudden you let go, and the child falls down to the ground, right?
Right.
And we do this over and over and over again, and the child may be thinking like, why is my parent letting go of me? But the thing is that if the parent would never let go, you would never learn how to walk. So the same way, Hashem gives us that inspiration, but it's up to us to take a few steps so that we can learn to walk on our own. That's really the goal of the three steps of Hashem gives us the gift. We have the fall, and then we recreate ourselves and grow.
Right. And also to like, if you would get into the head of the mind of that baby, when you're holding the baby's hand, they're like, I've got a 1.5-year-old who just learned to walk. So like, they're so proud, right? And they think they're walking, but we as adults know they're not actually walking, right? They're just holding on. They have to go through that phase of where they fall and they get up and they wobble and whatever. And then that, when they actually learn to walk, that is really, really walking. So yeah, I think that's
exactly.
a very, very powerful analogy.
Yeah.
I really, really like two of the things that you just said, that the number one, taking action, because it's like, inspiration is great, but it's actually nothing until we take action. And even if we have this most inspiring thing, we take one tiny thing from it, and we might think to ourselves like, wow, that inspiration was huge, and all I'm done is one tiny thing. But that one tiny thing that we had is real, right? And it's ours. And that is actually what makes that inspiration. And I also love what you said about, like, to have people that depend on you. Because I think it doesn't matter, okay, so you have this amazing Instagram account, and you have the website, and you have the WhatsApp, and you have the thing. And you're right, not all of us have that, but every single person have people around them that can get and that can and do get inspiration from us, and we don't always hear about it until much later. But when we sort of realize, when we position ourselves to think to ourselves like, you know what, I do have people, whether it's kids, whether it's neighbors, whether it's friends, whether it's whatever. I think that is such a powerful mindset. It's sort of like to put ourselves on that pedestal and say, yes, my actions matter because people around me can see, and I can impact them one way or another. So that was a very, I really liked what you said there, because I think that's something that we can really take with us.
Yeah, I think we all have something that we can contribute to the world. I heard a quote from the Lubavitcher Rebbe. I wrote it down over here. I'm sorry. It says, our mission on earth is to recognize the void inside and outside us, and to fill it. So we have an internal void, but there's also a void outside. So it's up to us to try to fill our void, but at the same time to fill the void of the world, fill the void inside of other people. So it doesn't matter what you have. I heard once that if a person just knows Aleph Beis, that's all they know. So find somebody you could teach Aleph Beis to. You know what?
Right.
There are people out there that don't know. Or, there are plenty of things that you learn on a daily basis that other people don't know. And there are plenty of people in the nursing homes or in the hospital that don't have any visitors. Just the fact that you came today to visit them is the biggest thing in the world for them. So what seems like nothing for you is, the world for somebody else. So we have to realize that, yeah, I can't do everything. I can't save the world. I can do all, fix all the problems in the world, but I can fix the problem for one person, and that person is a world. So we have to have that in mind, not to set our sights too high and not do anything. We have to try to take the first baby step forward and try to do what we can with what Hashem has given us. And each of us has a unique gift that we can give to the world. And that everybody's needed. Everybody's needed.
Absolutely, absolutely. Is there any myth about inspiration that you'd like to dispel?
So I think we kind of touched upon it a little bit, that inspiration is not there. It's not that we have inspiration for life. It's that life is like a, like a, we call it EKG. You have a monitor in the hospital, goes up and down, up and down, up and down. That's life. That's inspiration. Inspiration comes and goes, comes and goes. And what we have to realize is that we have to know how to live with the inspiration, meaning not to be inspired, let it go, wait for the next time to be inspired, let it go. And that's because that's not the way it works. Like we said, you have to take the inspiration and kind of run with it, grow a little bit higher, and then Hashem will send you another thing, to inspire you, and you grow even higher than that. It's just you have to learn how to, grow with the inspiration fading and coming back, fading, coming back. Like we said with the lightning analogy, is that a person has to, if you think that life is supposed to be always, sunny outside, bright, no darkness, then it's not possible. But if you realize that this is the way it is for everyone, even the greatest person in the world has to go through these times of darkness and light, darkness, light, and they struggled through it, and that's why they became who they became. Instead of giving up, they became better. Yeah, and I think that was something that we should internalize, and that's something would really help a person.
Yeah, write it on a post-it note. Inspiration comes and goes, right? So
exactly,
and put it somewhere up there. Thank you so much. I mean, are there any questions that you would have liked me to ask that I haven't yet asked? Because I thought this has been really informative and also very inspirational. Hearing you talk and your ideas and your thoughts, and it's really been amazing.
Thank you. Actually, I just want to say just a statement, that we Baruch Hashem, we live in a time where we can touch so many people around the world at the click of a button. I think no time in history did they have such a thing that existed 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 500 years ago. If you wanted to reach people, you had to go door to door, basically. But nowadays, you can reach the world. I'm here in LA, you're in the UK, and we're speaking, and we have people listening from all over. So that's to realize that this is something that Hashem has given us, and it's an opportunity for us to spread inspiration around the world. For myself, the fact that we have such a thing, that so many people are being inspired, that's also a motivation for me to do it every single day. I try never to miss a day to post stories, never to miss a day to post quotes, because I know that Hashem has given me such a responsibility to touch people around the world. Who knows if there's one person on that day that needed to hear that quote or needed to hear that story at that time, and what I did for them. And I get messages all the time about these things. I had a person who I sent actually my book, and he was he's in jail, and I sent him the book, and he's sitting with some of his some Jews over there, and they go through the quotes together, and it gives them a lot of inspiration to go forward. Right. So we all have a responsibility, whether it's on a higher level or on a lower level, but we have to try to try our best, and we shouldn't let one day go by without helping somebody else or inspiring somebody else in some way that we can. A person was not Lola Asma Hu Nivra. A person wasn't born just for themselves. We were here to help others, to inspire others, and to give them inspiration. That's why we're here. And we have to realize that after 120 years, after Me'av Esrim Shana, what are you going to be remembered for? You're not going to be remembered for what you did for yourself. Everything that we did for ourselves goes with us, but what we did for others, that's what lives on forever. So
Yeah.
with that mindset, we gotta be,
Keep
hopefully
on,
we live
yeah.
our lives on a higher level of conscience.
Yeah, and I would say I mean I thought personally I found that very inspiring because you're right, it's an incredible opportunity that we have nowadays by social media and whatever, and I would say it works both ways as well because we can also access inspiration at all hours of the days and nights. There's you can surround yourself on social media, on podcasts, whatever, with like the access to the inspiration, the learning is out there, and it's so much easier than I think gone are the days where you had to wait till there was a class in your neighborhood and you could go. Like there's thousands of Shirim on classes and podcasts and even on social media. There's so much, so we can also we can give that inspiration, and I think also sometimes we get so hung up on like the metrics, but like imagine if you think about it, like even if your post is being seen by 10 people, like imagine if you were actually talking to 10 people, you'd feel like, wow, my room is full. Like that's amazing. So
Exactly.
yeah, yeah. Thank you. That was really, really incredible. I see we had a question about what the book is called.
Okay.
And I will be saving this live, and if anyone wants to ask questions, I'm sure either of us will be happy to answer them afterwards. But maybe you could just tell us the name of the book, and then if you could send me the link, and I'll put it in the
Sure.
in
So
in the description or the comments or whatever.
sure. The book is called Flashes of Inspiration.
Right.
And it's very easy to find. I made a link, flashesofinspiration.org. So just one word,
Perfect.
flashesofinspiration.org, and it'll take you to the Amazon page. You could purchase it on Amazon.
Right. Thank you so much.
Thank you for taking the time to listen. I'd love to hear what you thought about this episode. You can get in touch with me. You can find me on Instagram at itsgilaross. And please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss out. I hope you have a wonderful day.